explain to you all of my thoughts right now. Let me adjust my headphones. All right, let's get down to it. So Drake Maye, quarterback, New England Patriots. So all righty, guys, here we go. Let's talk about it right here on Slaughterhouse Sports. Let's talk about Drake Maye, quarterback from New England, okay? So Drake Maye, quarterback, New England Patriots, he's not doing well. And I was somebody who said that Drake Maye would not be a successful or good NFL quarterback. I'm looking right into the camera right now. I didn't see the talent. I don't see the talent with Drake Maye at quarterback, okay? I think he's a great kid. I love his background growing up in North Carolina. His brothers, like Luke Maye. I mean, the kid is awesome. Like, I'd absolutely love to hang out, throw the football with Drake Maye. Seems like a great teammate. Intangibly, he's phenomenal. You know, he grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, right there in a mountain town, and comes from a great family. Again, like, a part of me is really rooting for Drake to succeed here. But I'm also not a New England Patriots fan. Like, I really, again, Gerard Mayo, Bill Belichick is kind of a legend, but Gerard Mayo, totally new to this process. And again, I was rooting for Mac Jones to succeed, frankly, but it didn't work out. But so you guys can, I guess, view this and say, you're a Mac Jones guy, you don't like Drake Maye. Actually, I'm going to argue that with Drake Maye, I'm going to argue that the media has been a little bit unfair to Drake Maye, because if we remember back to Patrick Mahomes, if we remember that era in time, Patrick Mahomes was making a lot of mistakes throwing the ball in Kansas City. And he was throwing all these interceptions, and everybody in the media is like, it's crazy. Mahomes, this Alex Smith replacement, 10th overall pick out of Tech, is throwing all these interceptions in training camp. So the reason again, that I say this about Drake Maye, I don't think he has a strong arm. I kind of believe he's like Daniel Jones. Like, he can throw it over the middle of the field sometimes, but the release really bothers me. Like, the windup bothers me, and the ball just doesn't seem to have the velocity that you need down the field to all parts of the field. And that is why I looked at quarterbacks in this class, and the quarterbacks that can work in the class, because arm talent, arm strength, like some people will think like Brock Purdy has really good arm strength. It needs to be analyzed in a particular way. If you could throw outside of the hash, that's really good arm strength. You look at Josh Allen, you even look at Herbert, the way that these guys throw the football. Aaron Rodgers certainly can throw a 70-yard Hail Mary, but can also throw with touch. He can layer it. He has big hands. I think that that's a key, too, to the quarterback position. It's something that you sometimes look for. You look at Michael Penix. Again, he's very successful, has 10-inch hands. Russell Wilson. Can you control the football in any kind of weather? Can you throw it in any weather? Now, I know that Mahomes and Joe Burrow don't have the biggest hands, all right, but Joe Burrow, he's really a finesse passer. Joe Burrow is an anomaly in so many ways, like how Joe Burrow didn't play any football for the first 3 years of college, and how Joe Burrow doesn't have incredible speed outside of the pocket. His height is certainly something that is very, very good and special. So Drake Maye has height. Drake Maye has some mobility, but it's not really great mobility. Like, he can fumble the football. He has problems with holding on to the ball. His arm strength is not very good. He'll lob it. He'll underthrow it. I don't think he could throw it with incredible velocity over the middle. He has to rely on incredible anticipation. To me, he was like a third or fourth round pick at quarterback. I know he dominated in college. He was a really good college quarterback, okay? College and the NFL, usually very, very different. It's rare to find quarterbacks that are really good at both levels. Usually you have guys that are great in college, and then you have guys that are, really good in the NFL. It's rare a little bit to have both. You look at Mahomes, was okay in college. You look at Josh Allen, was okay in college. Herbert is really good in the NFL, was fine in college. Brock Purdy, decent in college. And then you have guys that are tremendous in college. You have Mac Jones, great in college. You have a quarterback like a Stetson Bennett, who's phenomenal in college, and not very good in the NFL. You have Bailey Zappi, who's amazing at Western Kentucky, not very good in the NFL. So the overlap between college and the professional game just continues to, like Hendon Hooker, phenomenal college quarterback at Tennessee, like one of the best Tennessee quarterbacks in the past 40 years at that university, is okay at the NFL level. So it's rare to find, guys that can hit both checkpoints. And when you do that, you truly are, interesting or unique. Bryce Young's amazing in college, didn't have a great NFL first year. We're going to have to see how that happens. Jordan Love at Utah State, interceptions upon interceptions, inconsistent play, goes to Green Bay, is great. So usually a lot of quarterbacks, when they enter the NFL, they enter it with a lot of potential. Sometimes they come from smaller schools. Like Drew Aller's going to be a quarterback that I look at and say, okay, he might have one decent year at Penn State, but he hasn't been a good college. He's been a very average college quarterback. Like, who's had a better career? Is it Jackson Dart or is it Drew Aller? And it's Jackson Dart 100 times out of 100, but who's going to be a better NFL player? It's probably going to be Drew Aller, and it's not even going to be close. Like, who's a better quarterback in college? Is it Sam Hartman at Wake Forest that's very accurate and really good? Or is it Drew Aller that's wildly inconsistent? Like, what quarterback was better in college? Are you going to say Sam Hartman at Wake Forest, a guy who was incredibly accurate and would put up 40 points? Or are you going to say Anthony Richardson that couldn't hit the broadside of the barn at Florida and that went like 9 for 27? It's because Anthony Richardson, as he gets older, when the potential fills out, he's going to be amazing. Maybe if Anthony Richardson stayed 5 years at Florida, he eventually would have been, an amazing Heisman hopeful college quarterback. So I believe Anthony Richardson is going to be tremendous at the pro level. So sometimes you have to take college and certain things, differently. I like comparing both, but that's kind of like the rant here. So I think Drake Maye, was he an efficient college player? There's no doubt about it. Did he put up big numbers at North Carolina? Yeah. Did he win a lot of ACC games? Yes. Did he race the program at North Carolina? He did. Okay. He was accurate throwing the football. But in the NFL, does he have an NFL arm? He doesn't really. He throws behind receivers. He's inconsistent. He fumbles the ball. He's too thin at the quarterback position. He can't drive it in the really tight areas of the field. He doesn't really think quickly with talking NFL stuff. And if he's great, and also he's in a position to fail. I mean, Jalen Polk's going to be his best wide receiver that he has on that team. He doesn't have good wide receivers. The running game there, like for Ramondre Stevenson, like his best years are behind him. So he doesn't have good weapons in New England. So he's in a position to fail. He has a rookie head coach that is taking over for Bill Belichick that I'm not sure about. His offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, I think is just an okay hire as an offensive coordinator. Like, how much upside does Van Pelt have? It's not a good situation for him. The other situation you have is a Bo Nix, and Bo Nix was an all-right college quarterback at Auburn, turned into a phenomenal college quarterback, and now he goes into the NFL, and he's ready to go into the NFL. And kind of like Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow, would have went into the NFL after LSU his junior year, he would have been a 7th-round pick, and he would have had the career of Jake Dalagala. But instead, we look at Bo Nix, and Bo Nix accurate. Bo Nix has a bigger arm, I believe, than Maye. Bo Nix can throw the ball in the tighter windows. Bo Nix has a much better throwing motion than Drake Maye. Bo Nix is a better mover than Drake Maye is at the quarterback position. Bo Nix sees the game. Bo Nix will take layups all day long. Bo Nix knows about calculated risks. Bo Nix seems like a quarterback that can have success in Sean Payton's offense. Now, a big problem with Denver is the receivers are just bad. They're just poor. And I could talk about this, frankly, as somebody who views these guys from an NFL perspective. They do not have good weaponry in Denver at all. Like, their best receiver is the third receiver from the Lions. Josh Reynolds is their best wide receiver. So they need an A1 wide receiver in Denver. You know, when you look at Denver's roster, it's just not there and that's why I worry about Bo Nix. But in terms of the tight end play, in terms of having Troy Franklin there, it's going to be all right. I like that quarterback room a lot. Entertaining quarterbacks all up and down the roster. You know, you have a guy in Zach Wilson that has a little bit of pop in his arm. Like, Zach honestly should have transferred out of BYU, and he would have been better in the NFL had he gone to a very difficult college situation and adjusted to the SEC and stayed a couple more years. But again, he was drafted second overall, so he got a runway to start, and he had that time. But Zach Wilson, again, didn't really pay it off. Jarrett Stidham at Auburn and Baylor was really good at Baylor. Played in the Art Browse offense, which is video game like, cotton candy offense. It's really fun to watch. And then he went to Auburn, and he did decent at Auburn. You know, he won some big games there. Big arm, but again, unfortunately for him, and this was the reason why Zach went to, Stidham didn't have a big push. Stidham was like Jacob Eason, where Stidham went in the 5th round, and that just smells death as a quarterback. You have to rely on things outside of your control. You have to rely on injuries. And are you going to root for injuries? But that's going to be the only chance that you have to play is when your starter's bad or your starter gets hurt. Because owners are never going to start a 4th or a 5th round quarterback or a 3rd round quarterback. But you look at Bo Nix, what Bo Nix did, he exhausted every option. It's why I believe that there should be a 5th year of college football, makes it more competitive. Kids stay in school longer. They get their master's degree. They get their bachelor's degree, and we see great quarterbacks and great players, and they get to stay at universities, and it's a lot of fun. Like this year, people are hating on guys that are older playing college football, but I think it makes it better because I love seeing guys like Cam Rising play against Alan Bowman. Like, I find it awesome that Alan Bowman went to 3 schools and Alan Bowman's 26 years old. But we look at Bo Nix. What does Bo Nix do well? He hits the layups. He's very accurate. Bo Nix's throwing motion is very precise. He works at the game. He has all the intangibles. He has great intangibles, and intangibles can be really important at the quarterback position. And I think that he has really good rapport. I think Davis Webb is a rock star in the coaching industry. I think he's phenomenal. And I'm really excited again about Bo Nix. So I've been saying that Bo Nix is going to be pretty good, and I've had doubts about Drake Maye. So maybe Drake Maye. I know it's been only a little bit of camp. The people that, again, have said Drake Maye was going to be an awesome prospect, like, we have the receipts if they said at the draft that they don't think Drake Maye is going to be very good as a quarterback. So that's early NFL, little bit of hot stove conversation for y'all. Excited to see how the preseason goes next week, and we will be talking about it likely next